Hey, this is Web Suspect, and I'm doing a video today on how to start a college degree on a budget. So this video is for somebody who is kind of on the high end of the learning spectrum, or high end of the IQ spectrum, and they're from a working class family and don't have a lot of money. So if you have a lot of money and you went to a private college, and this video is probably not for you. This is more for like young Steve Jobs character who's just starting out, doesn't know what college is about or what they want to get a degree in. And the reason why I'm doing this video is I've finally started getting a little bit of help with mentoring after some 40 years. I'm always helping other people, and I kind of got discouraged about 10 years ago, and I just kind of stopped helping other people because I was just real discouraged. So this is one with the video. So I'm using a syllabus from Catonsville Community College, my local community college, and a syllabus is just kind of a guide map to how you go about getting your degree. And there's a URL at the top here. It's really not important. You can get a syllabus from your local community college. Now, this worked for me and my ex-girlfriend who failed out of university, and she wanted to get a degree in accounting. So she failed out of university, and I said, you can take your credits that you already have at university, transfer to a local community college. It has to be accredited. Of course, I wouldn't try this with an online college, and you will have a better chance of success. Although college tuitions are skyrocketing, it is cheaper to go to a community college. Sometimes the state will fund your community college, and the price will be cheaper if you live nearby. And you can live at home, and I would suggest this to a family of a working class person because it's just a lot cheaper. And once you get your associate's degree, you can transfer to a major university your credits as long as it's accredited, and you can go and get your advanced degree. So these are all the courses that you can study. Steve Jobs probably wanted to right away go into computer graphics or engineering, and then right away found himself confronted by all these courses that were just overwhelming. And that was at a four-year university, Berkeley. And so, like, here's engineering, and these are courses you would typically take for engineering. And you can see they're all heavily... Alright, sorry about that. Doesn't it seem like the phone always rings when you're trying to do something, so I just decided to pause the video, start over, or start up, not over, but art. It seems like whenever you're trying to do something like this, something really difficult comes up, like calculus or general physics. I think looking back, I could take these courses out, but they would stress me out mentally enough that I'd probably fail the course in engineering, and I always kind of knew that. I've had all the prerequisite courses leading up, and engineering is just very math intensive and a lot of abstract courses, and so are the computer courses. If you go into the computer science courses, you're going to have run into calculus again. And so for somebody who's very nerdy and already maybe has learned a lot of technical information, this is maybe really stressful unless you're already good at these things. Some people are really good at math. I'm incredibly good at math, and there's some people that are a lot better than I am. And so I don't want to be pushed outside of my social realm of being a person and have to deal with this. So I'm going to teach you some more techniques on how to get around that. Now, while you're at school, you're going to have a lot of people young your age, and pretty girls that are distracting, and you don't want to do like my friend who just talked the whole time in school and fail. So what you want to do is there's some social activity groups at colleges, and so while you're at class, don't talk to your friends or anything. If you want to talk or something, say we can hang out after class, and just try to pay attention in class and not talk a whole lot while the teacher's talking. And I have some teachers that are very boring and they skip over a lot of things. So what you want to do is, for those courses, bring your iPod, or you could buy a simple recorder for like $20, and you want to record those lectures so that you can listen to them later, or maybe even play them when you're sleeping. And if you have a busy schedule and not a lot of money, you can work part-time like I did and take half a class load. So instead of 5 classes a semester, you could take like 2 or 3. And what I did is I walked to the grocery store and back, and then I worked at the grocery store in the morning, and then in the evening walked to college, and sometimes got a ride or drove, but mostly walked and drove. Myself and the only person that ever stopped to pick me up was from a Nazi hate group, and I declined. Okay, so general studies. When I started this off, I had a course listed named General Studies. Now, for Steve Jobs type of character who wants to take a lot of courses, you want to take dancing and writing and all that, you don't really, maybe you're an intelligent person, but you have an idea that you want to create your own curriculum. General studies, this is something that you learn about your first year from talking to other people. Some people go to college and they have no clue what they want to study. They have no clue. So what you want to do is maybe take a general studies course. And I'll get into more what I took in a minute. And basically, these are all your courses here. For your requirements, you just need Fundamentals of Speech Education, College Composition 1 and 2. And basically, why they teach you these is they want to make sure that you can write what you're talking about down, type reports, send an email, write an essay to speak in front of a group of people. They just want to make sure that you can compose what you want to talk about. Instead of we have leaders recently, I'm just doing this off the top of my head. We had leaders recently like George Bush and Obama. These people could not speak on their own. They supposedly had college degrees, and they simply could not speak on their own. So they would just read from a teleprompter. This teaches you how to compose something that you want to write or read to a group of people and do it in an eloquent manner. Or contact a friend and tell them if you have a problem, and they can write or reply. That's why you need these courses. Are tremendously important. You just have to take them. But you could maybe put it off. I would take college composition my first year, and maybe third or fourth year take college composition too. I wouldn't take them both right away unless you really like writing. Now, these courses, they seem like really narrowly defined in what you have to take, but they're really pretty broad, and you can look at them. For a Steve Jobs type of person, I'll look at information technology. And you click on that, and before this was all done, you just had to look in a book and read it up. But now it's all organized in the little trees on the internet. So these are all your information technology, CINS to 101 to OFAD 160, and you would pick out one of these courses that you think you would be good at or fun to take. And so, for example, Introduction to Computers would probably be too easy for somebody. Emerging PC software, these would be, designs or trends in new programs. Diversity and Technological Society, Internet Principles, Multimedia Authoring, Computers in the Business World. And see, that way you can get a little bit of all the courses you want. And what about an art course? Steve Jobs liked calligraphy. We heard him say that. You click up here on Arts and Humanities, and these are all your arts courses. You could take, most people take what's interesting to them. So an African American person might take African American literature. A Native American person might take Native American literature, and you would read or study about people or things they wrote that were related to those cultures. World literature might be, something about World War I or II. American literature, you might read about things about the founding fathers, Ben Franklin, George Washington. British literature, this might be good for somebody who came from Great Britain. Like I said, most people study something they're familiar with. But if you're already familiar with something, you might want to move on to something that you don't know. And of course, Art Appreciation, History of Art, and Introduction to Fine Arts, which is like paintings and dancing and things that a Steve Jobs character might like. So if I was picking this out for Steve Jobs, I'd pick Introduction to Fine and Performing Arts. But you pick out something that's interesting to you and think you can take. Wellness and health. A lot of people, including me, have no clue about how to take care of themselves. These classes get into exercise and diet, depending on which classes you take. And I don't really see them here. But the health classes are good. They also teach you about good and bad cholesterols. Mathematics. I took a business class math course, and I just totally annihilated it. I think I got like a B in it. They range from ideas of math, modeling, all the way up to calculus. So if you can take a calculus and you want to do general studies, go ahead and knock yourself out. There's statistical methods. I'm pretty good with anything up to calculus. biological and physical sciences, natural sciences. Some people will take a course that has a good reputation. I took like an earth science course. I have some notes here that you want to ask around if you can or have time with your friends that you meet at the social clubs. Which professors have a reputation? If you have a professor that's a very liberal, progressive, socialist professor, and you have a very hardcore moral background and you're pro-American, you may not want a real liberal professor. Some of the courses here are physics courses. Physics courses seem tough, but they can kind of be interesting sometimes, and you can learn about things like gyroscopes. And of course, when you're talking about applied physics versus electronics, you start to enter the realm of bizarro world, where you get more of a theory of physics rather than applied physics, and you will butt heads with teachers who will tell you what's going on in the textbook. And Steve Wozniak types of stories where they're like, yeah, but we don't teach that kind of science here. And meteorology, which is like the study of the weather, oceanography, which is like the study of the oceans and I guess different wildlife and systems in the oceans. And again, you would just kind of take, now some people will start to take one course and they will maybe take a computer course or something and realize that they are not going to complete calculus or something. You can transfer your major to something like general studies and complete. And that's just about all the notes I have here. I have some other notes on things I did, which is shortcuts to making money to school. One was I used to sell my books. They had a used book sale at school, so every year at the end of the year I would just immediately sell all my old books because I was like, I'll never read these books again. These books are the books that you get for college. They usually tend to have large portions of missing contextual information, and they'll be heavy in one area of information, and then once you read them or study them, it's like you don't want to go back and read that book again. I guess if you had a book that you really liked, you might keep it. But what I would do is, the books were kind of basically worthless and overvalued to me, so I would sell the books, and you usually sell them for 50 to 70% of their value, and then you take the money next year and you buy new books. So let's say your books for this year were $100 or $200, and you sell your books for $100 to $150, then you just need $50 to buy your new books. So that was a shortcut for me for buying books. And sometimes for like a Christmas present, somebody would give me some money and I would use that money to take another course. A lot of people that I went to school with would file for Pell Grants and things. That never really worked for me. We didn't make a lot of money. We were kind of like working middle class, but we made enough money to not get any grants to help me with college. And I also applied for a lot of scholarships, but a lot of the scholarships now are minority-based scholarships, so if you just want to get a regular working class scholarship, you're going to need pretty much like an A average, so that can be difficult. And so that pretty much concludes my video on how to get a college degree on a budget. This does work. Once you get your basic degree, this is just for an applied associate of science or applied associate of arts degree, you can transfer to a 4-year university, and then your costs will be greatly reduced. You can still do the program of getting a job with a company or working for a company. If a lot of companies are not now hiring people with associate's degrees, but you could, if you had a good reputation or you knew somebody that was open, you could go and then maybe while you're working, like I did, go and get your advanced degree in the evenings. And people say it's basically worthless to get a degree. I wouldn't say it's worthless because you have to work for the degree, you get it, and while the degree doesn't teach you everything you need to know to, say, get a job with a big Fortune 500 company, and a lot of Fortune 5